Hello everyone and welcome back from a 3+ week respite. The Yankees are down 2-1 and the Patriots are 6-0, soon to be 7-0 Monday night against the surprising rejuvenated Jets. Last weekend was a beautiful fall foliage one up here in Poughkeepsie. Dr. Laura and I went on a couple of woodsy hikes. We also did a 2-day cleansing on Sunday and Monday. I felt like a drug addict going through withdrawal. I am much better today. A little housekeeping. I want to clarify our test creation process, beginning with your 4 learning targets. At the start of the modified discussion, several people created targets that were not aimed at knowledge or reasoning from one of the 3 EdTPAs. I believe everyone is clear on that now, I hope. You should be giving feedback based on our readings, Wiggins, and there were other feedback articles. I'll mention another one as we go through this, as we go through Module 4. That'll guide your classmates into writing targets that are clear, measurable, specific, and student-friendly. Avoid comments that are only praising with no substantive feedback. Just another reminder to keep filling out your vocabulary and your own words and begin writing your 3-part analytic summary right now as you go through this process. What was difficult? What did you learn from it? What did you struggle with? Part 3 of the 3-part analytic summary is reflecting on the test creation process itself, which many of you have already begun. The next module, that's this one coming up, starts in the middle of the week, Thursday, which is today, and goes until a week from Sunday, October 27th. So there may be a little confusion there. It's a week and 3 days module. Module 3, discussion. I'm excited about what took place in this discussion, especially the depth of the posts in the 2nd and 3rd week. I received 2 emails giving me feedback. Thank you for that. On this discussion board as I solicited in my assignment video. One was very supportive, the other questioned, what else could we write about after we do the assignment? If we did the initial graphing and answered the discussion board questions. What I had hoped was that we would dive deeper into the RTI process after we looked at the data, made recommendations to continue in the current tier, try another intervention, or recommend movement up and down into a different tier. And it happened. I pointed many students toward using the dual discrepancy model for judging adequate progress in Tier 2, although I think it could be used in Tier 1 as well. This was described in the 2nd of the IRIS handouts. Many also were confused as to how to plot the beginning point of the student graph and the goal line and the end point to compare to the benchmark. One was the starting point was finding the median of the first 3 points. The goal line was taking the average. Comparing the progress to the benchmark was taking the average of the last 3 points. So one was the median, one was the average. It didn't make a really big difference, but in some cases it might. Most of you were able to compute the slope, the ROI, rate of improvement, of both the goal line when it wasn't given and the student's progress. This was a big idea of this module. Most of you also understood the basic concepts of RTI, universal screening, research-based core instruction and interventions, progress monitoring to catch up, and 3 tiers of increasing intensity. We also looked at where we find these interventions in core curricular, how long we intervene before different interventions or recommending movement to another tier, RTI in secondary and pre-K, and the concepts of integrity, fidelity of instruction. So if you're unclear about any of those, you should go back and check into especially Salvi et al. In the 2 IRIS articles. Thanks to 2 of my students in 64021 and another in 64023, I added 2 new pages to Module 4 ancillary materials, RTI for secondary and RTI for pre-K. I also added a good article on RTI for English language learners. And also in 64020, an article was added Why is it hard to get teacher buy-in for RTI? You will find several links in each to help you navigate those two areas, which are not typically mentioned in our text. Most of our readings are on RTI in grades 1 through 6. In section 640.20, there was a question about the difference between RTI and MTSS, multi-tiered support services, which Salvia et al. Mentioned at the end of chapter 12. The difference is fairly simple, in my opinion. I mean, it can be complicated, but MTSS also includes behavior as well as other areas and revolves around a problem-solving approach. It was always my understanding that RTI used that kind of approach. An article shared RTI and MTSS about MTSS does a nice job of clarifying this. So I have links to all these in the transcript of this video. In several sections, there were questions about where to find interventions, how to implement them with integrity, and how to intervene before either changing to another intervention or recommending a higher tier. I have links to 3 different intervention sites I believe they're at the bottom of module 4, excuse me. What Works Clearinghouse is probably the most popular. There's also Intervention Hero and Intervention Central, which I think has it's an easier access to get strategies, interventioncentral.org. Time in tier was also a topic in several posts. It varies. In tier 1, we rely on the teacher or a push-in specialist. In tier 2, 8 to 10 weeks is common. In 640.20, we also had a good discussion of feedback, which was a topic in Module 5. We examined the sandwich method, which I think is, for most people, is very intuitive. Oh yeah, I give a positive, then I give critique or feedback, and then I give another positive. So people are hesitant to give supportive feedback that helps improvement, thinking it will hurt someone's self-esteem. And we find the opposite. So this is a Harvard Business Review article that I'm sharing here in the transcript that disputed this approach and stimulated an active discussion. So I would recommend you going into the transcript of this video and reading, and click on the link and reading that article. Overall, I was pleased with your work. Maybe it was because it was 3.5 weeks long, but there was a lot of depth to our discussion. People were sharing a lot of articles. People were going in and finding articles to support questions they had or answers they were giving. So that's exactly what I envisioned about having a 2-week discussion board. Even though they overlap, the second week it definitely gets a deeper discussion. Those who don't just make 6 posts and never come back. Those who continue into the second week, I find those people are enhancing our discussion and are also deepening their own learning. So keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the course. Keep working on your selective response test, but don't start until you get feedback from me on your LTs. A lot of people just post them at the end of the module. So I will be doing that in the next 3 or 4 days. So enjoy the foliage if the rain doesn't knock it all down. And I will be speaking to you again on Monday the 28th.